Joan Rivers said that Michelle Obama was a man before she died.
Was that a joke? I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke too, but the way she said it wasn't like jokey. She was like, oh, come on, everybody knows Michelle Obama's a man. Like, remember that?
Yeah, like, would Big Mike kill you for that?
Well, I think she died because she had 1,000 plastic surgeries. But
yeah, she was going under.
Yeah.
She just sees these big black arms coming over her face. Big Mike.
Bro.
Oh, no.
Whoever did Madonna's face was working on Joan Rivers first and perfect.
For a long time, Michelle Obama has been celebrated and placed on a pedestal, almost as if she were political royalty. Yet, Joe Rogan takes aim at that flawless image with sharp criticism. He refuses to buy into the carefully shaped public persona, the endless media praise, or the repeating book tours that paint her as the nation's brightest star. By framing her as the creation of news networks and public relations strategists, Rogan challenges the idea of Michelle as an untouchable icon.
Joe Rogan is calling out Oprah and Michelle Obama for hypocritical speeches at the DNC. Watch.
She's up there talking about income inequality. Like, hey, lady.
Yeah, I know.
You're rich as like, how is that equal? And also, when Michelle Obama was saying, you know, I think she was saying her mother or grandmother was always suspicious of people who took more than they needed.
Yes.
Like, you're worth so much money.
Take more than they need. The Obamas have 4 mansions.
For Michelle Obama, performance has often mattered more than substance. The media cast her as a beacon of hope, yet Rogan argues that inspiration alone doesn't craft laws, solve problems, or settle real debates. It's like plastering motivational posters across a crumbling building, uplifting words that can't stop the collapse. Michelle presented herself as the voice of America and a guiding figure for its future, but her focus seemed fixed on television deals and best-selling books. Rogan pulls on that thread to show her power lies less in leadership and more in branding, closer to Hollywood than the halls of Washington.
You're guilty of massive amounts of misinformation and disinformation as a part of a propaganda campaign.
Attorney General Pam Bondi has directed federal prosecutors to launch a grand jury investigation into members of the Obama administration over the 2016 Russia investigation.
A lot of them are guilty of it. A lot of the people that are in that White House press conference, a lot of the organizations they work for, distributed absolute lies.
Total lies.
Tulsi Gabbard declassified documents that she says shows Obama administration officials manufactured intelligence to make it look like Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
How many of them during the whole Russiagate thing?
A ton of people think that the Russia thing was real.
Yeah,
Still. I mean, the whole Steele dossier where it was like completely concocted.
Funded by the Clinton campaign.
What makes it even more striking is that Michelle often voiced grievances while living a life of extraordinary privilege. Rogan highlights the irony of figure hosting Netflix shows with star-studded cast from sprawling multi-million-dollar homes, yet repeatedly speaking about struggles. The contradiction is so clear it almost explains itself. Exposing contradictions like this is something Rogan relishes. He paints Michelle as someone who turned victimhood into a brand, all while remaining firmly within the comfort of wealth and celebrity. Rather than the image of a leader tackling challenges head-on, she comes across as someone appealing to a loyal fan base while enjoying the lifestyle of a millionaire.
Kids, were they private or public? Like, when he was a senator?
I don't know. I just know that
he was a senator, right?
Yes,
before he became president.
For sure.
So what, law school, Senate?
I have no issue because I want to live. I have no issue with Big Mike. I don't care that they killed that sex slave in Martha's Vineyard. That's what happens to sex slaves. They drown in ponds. That's what happens. You fuck the ruling class, you drown a pond. That's what happens. If you get your little mouthy, you go into the pond. I don't have a problem with it. I have no problem. I think it's good. I actually think it's good. I think it makes our country fun. I think it makes us unique. I think Putin and them are scared of that shit.
They do it all the time.
I think Putin and the Chinese are like,
Rogan also challenges the belief that Michelle is a seasoned political force. For years, the Democratic Party and its media allies have promoted her as their top choice and reliable backup. Yet Rogan says he doesn't see a fighter, a strategist, or even an independent thinker. Instead, he sees someone carried by Barack Obama's legacy, presenting her own speeches and appearances as equally vital while leaning on that association for credibility. Her Let's Move campaign, which produced more punchlines than policy, became a running gag. Her best-known contributions, tweaked school menus and garden snapshots, hardly matched the media fanfare. That's not genuine leadership, Rogan argues. That's stage performance.
This is the one.
Or the first woman
We already
president.
have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty funny how she said it.
Okay, we all know it. So what year was that, Jamie, that she said that?
Rogan digs deeper into the contradictions at the heart of Michelle's image. For years, she has styled herself as the champion of everyday people and an opponent of elitism, yet her own lifestyle tells another story. Rogan pokes fun at the idea that someone vacationing on lavish islands alongside billionaires could convincingly preach sacrifice, hard work, or the struggles of ordinary families. To him, it feels less like politics and more like theater, a way to keep the Obama brand alive in Democratic circles without engaging in the hard realities of governance. What Rogan exposes isn't just hypocrisy, it's the cracks in the carefully applied stage makeup revealed under the glare of scrutiny.
I will not run for president.
Yeah, I've heard you say I think Michelle should run.
She could win. She could win, I think. I think if she ran, she could win.
Do you ever run for office?
No.
I have to ask it.
No.
No kind of office.
No.
I don't think she wants that, though.
No,
I don't
I
think she
guess.
wants that in her life. The bull that they dealt with over the 8 years when he was president.
Because I've got these two young people at home. Being the kids, the daughters of a president, just think about it. Not so easy.
That job for anybody that really good at it.
Yeah, I trust the person who doesn't want the job more than
Yeah.
the person who wants the job.
It's not something that I'm interested in or would ever do, ever.
Next comes the question of authenticity. Michelle's carefully polished persona, Rogan argues, feels as scripted as a reality show. Every story she tells seems rehearsed, as if a team of advisors tested and refined each line before it reached the public. Even her so-called spontaneous moments appear pre-approved by focus groups. For Rogan, this makes it nearly impossible to view her words as genuine, and the artificial shine is exactly what frustrates him. While the media works hard to present her as universally admired and endlessly relatable, Rogan insists that the admiration is built more on her husband's legacy than her own accomplishments. Without the Obama name, he argues, Michelle wouldn't even be in the political conversation.
I didn't even know Joe Rogan was a comedian.
You know, it's just good to see everybody having a good time. The country's almost back to normal before World War III. COVID was just so strange. We lost a lot of people during COVID, and most of them are still alive. Yeah. Before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines are the most important invention in human history. After COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon.
Rogan points out how Michelle leans on culture as her safety net, even while lacking political depth. She has outshined many politicians in the media spotlight, building a reputation for elegance and empowerment. But as Rogan observes, empowerment becomes little more than decoration when it has no substance behind it. Though her record shows little real progress, she was cast as the embodiment of change. To Rogan, she resembles an influencer more than a policymaker, a mascot more than a leader. What frustrates him most is the double standard. Michelle can earn millions through documentaries, best-selling books, and speeches against injustice, while the media applauds her as a hero. That's why his roast cuts so sharply. It voices what many people suspect but hesitate to admit, stripping away the protective shield around her image. In Rogan's eyes, Michelle's fame overshadows her intellect, making her look less like a stateswoman and more like a marketable brand.
I have no issue with Big Mike.
That is the wackiest conspiracy.
It's a
currently
wacky
available.
conspiracy. Can I make one point for the people that on the side of it? But I don't think she's Big Mike. It is weird that there's not one photo of her pregnant, but maybe there is. Maybe it's not weird. I don't know.
She's a public person. Why would you want photos of her pregnant out there?
I understand that. Maybe it is weird. Maybe it's not weird. Maybe it's not weird.
Well, also, when she had her kids, were they private or public?
I have no issue because I want to.
Rogan also pokes fun at the idea of Michelle as a serious presidential contender. In his view, there's no visionary there, just what he calls a walking TED Talk. While her public speaking skills are undeniable, Rogan insists that true leadership requires more than polished appearances and catchy lines. Charisma, he argues, is not the same as competence, and if speeches alone could transform the world, paradise would already be here. To him, Michelle is the clearest example of how modern politics often prizes performance above substance. With pinpoint precision, Rogan dismantles her standing in that system. He refuses to play along with the myth, which is why his roast feels so effective. Rogan portrays Michelle as the product of media worship, crafted to keep the Obama name alive long after Barack left the White House. In his telling, the Obama legacy rests more on appearances than on accomplishments. with Michelle at the center of that illusion, much like an emperor with no clothes. Through blunt and relentless critique, Rogan shatters her image as an untouchable political legend.
Can I get a glass of water? This is not a prank. You never seen it?
No.
It's amazing. He gets a glass of Flint tap water. I swear to God, he drinks it like this. Watch this.
Can I get some water? I'm still waiting for my water. I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
It's
that.
100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water? No, you bring water on stage.
Michelle Obama has built her brand on polished photos, endless book tours, and the repeated retelling of her tough journey, all while enjoying the spotlight of celebrity politics. Yet when Joe Rogan steps into the conversation, that glossy image begins to fade. Suddenly, the aura surrounding America's most celebrated woman looks less like a genuine story and more like a marketing campaign. The same figure who earns millions through book deals, Netflix contracts, and luxury homes on Martha's Vineyard is also the one delivering speeches about barriers and hardship. To Rogan, this is the mark of a political hustler, someone who talks about struggle while living in unimaginable comfort. He points out that many politicians and their spouses play this double game, but what makes Michelle stand out is her boldness in presenting it as if she invented authenticity itself.
The accusation, they're throwing around the word treason.
I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016.
They're saying that Obama knew that Russia did not meddle in the election, did not have any impact in the election.
Another point Rogan targets is Michelle's so-called reluctance toward politics. When asked about running for office, she often plays coy, insisting she has no interest in power, status, or the spotlight. Yet every move she makes keeps her firmly in the public eye. Her sway within the Democratic Party is unmistakable, and Rogan sees strategy behind the act. Her repeated claims of disinterest, he argues, don't reflect humility. They fuel speculation and strengthen her image. To him, it's modesty on the surface, but manipulation underneath. Rogan also looks back at her years as First Lady, which he describes as long on symbolism but short on substance. Her signature project, Let's Move, began as a campaign against childhood obesity, but quickly became more of a public relations showcase than a meaningful policy shift. Photo ops of White House gardens and kids sampling vegetables made headlines, but in Rogan's view, the initiative achieved little real change. Planting lettuce in Washington didn't suddenly inspire children across the country to start eating kale, nor did it solve the obesity crisis overnight. Yet, Michelle continues to ride that wave as though she had reshaped American healthcare. To Rogan, it's just another case of optics triumphing over outcomes, the kind of thing he takes pleasure in tearing apart.
Remember when they gave that speech, when he gave a speech on television, and everybody was like, fuck this. And then they were, it kind of just went away.
It was one of the most beautiful moments in modern American history. People really actually stood up and stopped a war from happening.
Today, I authorize the Armed Forces of the United States to begin a limited military action in...
Even Michelle's memoirs become part of Rogan's critique. Though millions of copies were sold, he views the book less as an autobiography and more as a playbook for constructing a narrative. Every struggle is magnified into a monumental hurdle, and every achievement is framed as a life-changing triumph. To Rogan, it reads more like preparation for a political campaign than a genuine personal story. Despite its intimate marketing, he argues, readers were handed a polished PR product designed to further cement the Obama name in American culture. What fuels Rogan's criticism is his disdain for celebrity worship. In politics, Michelle isn't treated like a former first lady. She's treated like a pop icon. The reception she receives from Hollywood, the press, and universities is more fitting for Beyonce than for a political spouse. Rogan cuts through the hype by asking the simple question, what exactly earned her such status? It wasn't groundbreaking leadership, major policy victories, or transformative change. Instead, it was the Obama brand, packaged, promoted, and consumed by a public eager for heroes. And in tearing down Michelle's image, Rogan doesn't spare Barack either. He suggests her carefully crafted persona is nothing more than an extension of his, both built on myth rather than measurable accomplishments.
This is the accusation. They're throwing around the word treason.
I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016.
They're saying that Obama knew that Russia did not meddle in the election, did not have any impact in the election.
We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history.
But yet promoted this idea.
James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years.
And then there's been some incredible clips of all these different news reporters, CNN and MSNBC, just saying over and over and over again, clear evidence of Russian collusion.
Barack Obama's presidency, Rogan argues, carried the weight of contradictions. His campaign promised optimism, unity, and sweeping reform, yet his years in office were shadowed by drone warfare, expanded surveillance, and a list of unfulfilled pledges of theirs. Against this backdrop, Michelle stepped in as the emotional anchor of the administration, reinforcing his story with her own. Rogan cleverly describes it this way: if Barack's presidency was a Netflix drama, Michelle was the spin-off series. The themes were the same: uplift, struggle, hope, but packaged with a slightly different tone, one designed to expand the reach of the Obama brand. This is where Rogan draws his sharpest contrast: the Michelle the public believes they know versus the Michelle he sees. She is not simply the inspiring woman who rose from hardship. She is a strategist, an expert in branding whose every move protects her relevance, influence, and cultural dominance. Rogan points out that this talent makes her less of a leader and more of a polished symbol, marketed, admired, and monetized. Like her memoirs, her campaigns, and even her public appearances, the persona feels less spontaneous than manufactured, tested by consultants, and sold to an audience eager for heroes. For Rogan, this isn't about small flaws, but about the entire illusion. He circles back to her book tours, her Netflix deals, her lavish lifestyle, and her claims of being a voice for the ordinary American. All of it, he argues, highlights the paradox of a figure celebrated as authentic while living inside an empire of wealth and media adoration. In the end, Michelle is less a political pioneer than the centerpiece of a franchise. Rogan doesn't just question that image. He tears it down, exposing her as a product of the political entertainment machine, carefully packaged for mass consumption.